Hello and welcome back to Big G's how-to tutorials. I figured I'd bring you how to make a pine tree today. So with that being said, let me show you what you need to purchase in order to make my trees. You can also use different materials other than what I've got, but this is what I'm using. You can go to your local hardware store. You can purchase floor scrubbing pads. They're very thick. Let's see how thick that is right there. You can get several pine trees out of this one foam pad, or this one filter pad that's very coarse. You can also use furnace filters, several other coarse materials as well. And what you do is you just start, that was a full circle when I started. You just take and you cut off chunks, and then from that you start making them even smaller until you get down to a size that it's kind of boxy. You want to vary the sizes a little bit, because what you're going to do from there is you're going to take and you're going to start trimming that down into circles, and all that is just lobbing off the corners with a pair of scissors. Now the smaller pieces that are falling off, you want to definitely save those. They get a little tough from time to time too, and that's a brand new pair of scissors, so no, the scissors aren't getting dull, but you'll wind up, you'll have circles like that. Like I said, they're still kind of thick. From that point, what you're going to do is you're going to start peeling it apart. Not teasing it apart, but you'll pull off small little discs like that. You've still got several. Make them kind of thin. Just lay them on the desk. We're going to also use the same toothpicks that I was showing you in the last video. The only difference this time is I'm not using the hot glue gun. These are coarse enough that usually, as long as you stab a pretty nice chunk of the filter material here, you'll wind up being able to use that, and it'll have enough friction up against your toothpick that you don't have to worry about really gluing it in place. Plus you're going to be adding glue in a little while anyways, and on that step it'll pretty much help solidify that filter to the actual toothpick at the finishing process once it's completely dry. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a toothpick, and on my desk here I have several different sizes of disc. I'm going to take larger ones, start with those. You're going to go through the center. Try not to stab yourself. Put the toothpick right in between your fingers there, pull the disc down. As long as you don't move it around too much, they'll usually stay right in place. So, you got that. Then you'll just start going down in sizes. And if you've got a lot of them that are kind of close in size, then what you can do is you can start trimming the excess off with your scissors. So you can kind of trim them as you're going and building the tree. And what I usually do is I'll put a little spacing in between it, and then just tease them a little bit. Because if you look at a pine tree, most of the time the branches are kind of sloped down from the trunk of the tree. So I try to emulate that a little bit by teasing these down. And like I said, you just keep on piling the disc on there until you get to the very top. Now, I do model in N scale. You can do these in HO scale as well as the trees that I made in the very first how-to video that I put up. The only difference is, instead of doing an N scale or doing a tree on a toothpick, what I would do is I would recommend getting like a bamboo skewer, dowel rod, something of that nature. That way it'll add a little bit more girth to your trunk, and you can actually have a lot more height on it as well for your HO or your O scale trees that you're making. So As of right now, I've only got 3 discs on there, but you can already tell that it's starting to take shape. I'm going to go much smaller this time. Put that on there. And as you can kind of see, it's starting to kind of slope up, which is what you're kind of wanting. You're wanting kind of, when you look at it from this angle, you're going to want it to be kind of pyramided, kind of. And go to one of my smaller discs. I was telling you a little while ago that you'd want to save the bigger chunk, or the small chunks that you're cutting off the corners. And take them, and those are usually the tops of my trees. Those are a little tougher to get on there from time to time. You want to make sure they're on there nice and secure, because this next part you're going to dunk it into the glue solution and it's going to get nice and saturated, so you definitely don't want to lose your tree tops. Now, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I've got a couple little stragglers. You can kind of see one showing up right there, so I'm going to trim it down real quick. Now, that is a decent looking cedar tree there, but we've still got one final step, and that's to add the greenery to it. Also, today we're using the same greenery that we were on the first video, the Woodland Scenics Green Blend Blended Turf. Toothpick, the filter, small circles, stab them in there, get your glue mixture, dunk the tree, fully submerge it. And a lot of you are probably like, well, why are you not painting the tree and leaving limbs black on there? To me, that black actually adds to the evergreen cedar look. It darkens that green up a little bit so it stands out differently from your other trees. It takes a little while to get all the excess glue off of these. Kind of squeeze them out a little bit. You can see most of the glue dropping off there. Now when you do that, you just want to make sure that you move these filters back out a little bit. Like I said, keep focusing on each one of those layers, kind of tilt them down a little bit. It'll just add to the realism when you get ready to plant it later, after your very next step here. Now when you're doing this, you'll also want a foam block or something that you can jab your tree into to let it dry for a while after getting it done. Okay, you're just going to take your spoon, get you some of the green, put it over your container that you're saving the material excess off, and you just start sprinkling it on there. And it's okay to be very generous with this, that way it gets in those layers. That'll help thicken the tree up a little bit. And I usually try to shake it off in between each one of them. Now keep in mind when you're planting these trees that you'll want to put some rust down on the ground or some dead static grass underneath them. It'll add to the realism, because every time there's a pine tree around, you'll always see needles up underneath them. You don't want the static grass to be upright. You'll actually want it being laying down on the ground so it looks like the deadfall needles off of them. Alright, it's looking pretty good. Let me move this stuff out of the way real quick. And try to bring that to where it's in focus there. Got a lamp to the side today, so hopefully it's going to bring out some of the details. But that is how I do my N-scale evergreen trees. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shut the video off now, and I will see you on the next how-to. Thank you for watching.